Sir, my second question is, I'm aware of unseen guests in my house. This has been happening quite some time, but apparently I'm the only one who sees this or hears this. Not much of seeing, but hearing. Of lately, when I woke up one morning, I heard the chair moving. I thought it was my husband or my daughter, but the lights were not on, only where I was. Then I let that go. But recently, there was a very prominent knock on my door. When I asked my husband whether he knocked the door, he said no. I asked my daughter, she said no. Way back in 2004, I lost my father and a very good friend. But it was my father who always came in my dream. Even yesterday, he appeared in my dream. Come Saturday, 5th of July, will be his 10 years of him passing away. So is there any sign, sir, that you can tell me that I could do? And the causes of this happening in my home? Thank you.
So you have been getting visits by an unseen being, and you get dreams of your father. Yeah, it is possible and maybe probable that this being that comes back is your father, because in the Buddha's teachings, most beings after they pass away, or most humans after we pass away, you go into the ghost realm. And when somebody goes into the ghost realm, that person is suffering and he needs help. And he will come to the person whom he thinks is more likely to help him. So, if your father is closer to you than your other siblings, your father will come to you. So the Buddha said that we can only help our departed relative if that person is born in the ghost realm. Mainly, I think, because only ghosts can come back. So, how do we help ghosts? There's firstly, the most important thing they need is food. Secondly is clothing. So I suggest that you, when you go back, to light some incense and inform your father and also other departed relatives whom you may have forgotten, that you want to do dana on their behalf to help them. So you could burn this incense for like 3 nights and you tell them you're going to do this dana on a certain day. So when you go to this a temple where there are a few monks, then you make the offering. At the moment you make the offering, you think of all your departed relatives. And then transfer the merit to them. And after you come home, you can still repeat it at night, because ghosts come out at night. I tell you some interesting stories. Recently, there's one devotee in Penang. He has started to listen to my Dharma talks, and he liked it very much. So he contacted me. Then he told me that these the things I say about ghosts coming back, he said, is really true. He said his friend, a couple, an old couple, they were sleeping in their house at night. In the middle of the night, they heard a lot of noise in the garden. So the husband asked the wife to go to the window and see who is making all that noise in the garden. So the wife went to the window and looked. There was nobody in the garden. Then they went back to sleep. And then again the noise, a lot of noise in the garden. Again she went to the window to see. Again nobody. And then she thought, why don't I look at the CCTV? Then she went to the CCTV to look. She was shocked to see an old lady sitting in the garden. Then she rushed to the window to look. Nobody. Then she rushed to the CCTV. Old lady. Rushed to the window. Nobody. Then slowly they realized this unseen being. They're very frightened. They went back to bed. Next day they went to the medium to ask. You know what the medium told them? This old lady was your nanny in a previous lifetime. You know, in old days, this nanny, what they call Lai Ma. These nannies, they look after the baby, also give them milk. So she was fed in a previous life. Now the nanny has become a ghost, very hungry. Who to turn to? And then she thinks of this person. Last time I gave her milk. Surely she will help me. So that's why she comes back. That's why the Buddha said that we have many relatives in the ghost realm. We have forgotten. Even previous life, they come to us. But we have forgotten them. Yeah. That's why when we transfer merit, we don't think of one relative or two. You don't have to name them. You just say all my relatives, meaning all who are related to me in some way. Even this nanny, transfer the merit to you if you need it. So if we do this, they are very happy with us. Then they become our Kui Jin, Kuai Yin. Then they look after you, protect you. So that is one story. Another story also very recently told to me by a devotee from SP. She said that her mother passed away, and then the anniversary day, I don't know, 1 year or something was coming up. Then she remembered she has to do some dana for that for the mother. But just before that anniversary date, an uncle passed away. So when the uncle passed away, then she was occupied with this uncle and was thinking she has to do merit for this uncle. So one day she saw 2 monks on arms round. So very happy, quickly went to buy some food, thinking to make this offering for the uncle who just passed away. So she said, she went to this monk, knelt down to offer to this monk. She saw the mother behind the monk, smiling so happily, She had never seen the mother so happy. Then she remembered our anniversary. Then she transferred the merit for the mother as well as the uncle. So you see, they're waiting for you to help. So like this, coming back to the house and letting you know that somebody is around. Why? Because he needs the help. So you must do this offering as many times as you can. Yeah. Somebody is shy to talk. Bhante, I find it easy to try to practice mindfulness in my daily activities, that is in speech, to be aware of my emotions, mood, and aware of my thoughts, that is like those chatting in the mind, etc. For me, I find it more difficult to have a sitting meditation, as every time when I try to do sitting meditation, I would feel anxious or tense, and very difficult to bring my mind to a calm state. As a lay Buddhist, to gain wisdom, is it necessary to practice a sitting meditation? Actually, meditation is very difficult for everybody, including monks and nuns. So, I would advise if you find difficulty in meditation, to spend more time listening to the suttas. Okay. The other thing I like to say about meditation is that, like for example, mindfulness of the breath. A lot of people, when you practice mindfulness of the breath, you try to focus on the breath. That is very difficult. Firstly, because our mind, the 5 hindrances are very strong. So you try to observe the breath. It's as though there's a brick wall in front of you. You cannot see behind the brick wall. You cannot see the breath. Yeah. If you try to meditate anapanasati, I would advise that when you sit down, relax, then firstly be aware of your body. This being aware of the body, just now I talked about sampajanya, mindfulness of the body. The Buddha said, kaya gata sati, mindfulness directed to the body leads to the deathless. It's very important to always direct your mindfulness to the body. because then you'll be in the here and now. Yeah. First you direct your attention to the body, and then be aware of your breathing. Don't try to look at the breath. Just be aware of the whole body breathing. It is much easier, and you won't get the samadhi headache. Yeah. So just be aware of the breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Don't look for it in a particular place. If you look for it in a particular place, you won't be able to see the breath is one problem. Second problem is you might get a headache. Or you might get very bored because you cannot see the breath at all. Okay.
Bhante.
Yeah.
I came to notice that some cultivators like monks, they go for long period of reclusion practice. So how is it important to the cultivation of liberalization?
You said that certain monks go for long seclusion, and how is it helpful?
Yes.
If you are talking about meditation, meditation is something that you have to practice as often as you can to get your mind into that calm state, as many hours as you can. Sometimes for monks like me, in the monastery, I'm the CEO as well as the burokasa, the laborer, etc. Then I find it very difficult to meditate. That's why recently I went back to my old cave for 1 month on Penang Hill. So that is one reason a monk goes. During the Buddha's time, a monk had to live with his teacher for 5 years, basically to learn the suttas and the Vinaya, and also all the things that a monk should know for 5 years at least. Then after that, if the monk is capable of living alone, he'll be encouraged to go to live alone for as many years as he can. The only thing is not all monks are capable of living alone. When a monk lives alone, he needs very strong discipline. If he doesn't have very strong discipline, then because there's nobody watching him, he'll sleep more than he should. Yeah. So many monks find that they are not able to stay alone and practice. But if you are able to stay alone and practice for a monk, that is the best way, the fastest way to progress. Does that satisfy you?
Usually monks they practice this way to get wisdom or to get liberated.
I think you need to listen more to the suttas. A lot of things that you ask can be found in the suttas if you listen.
Bhante, how about if I were to, after retirement, I practice in a more diligent way? Is it too late from your view?
Of course.
Thanks.
Can I just mention one thing? A few years ago, in Tapa, a 45-year-old lady and her son were killed in an accident. And then after that, Chinese, they like to employ these Taoist people to come and do chanting for 2 nights. It was pretty costly, 2 nights, 20,000. In spite of the chanting, later they came to me, because at night, 3 of them heard the ghost crying. Only 3. So many people in the house, only 3 of them heard the ghost crying. So that made them doubtful whether all that Taoist chanting actually helped their relative. So they came to me. So now, why is it that only 3 people heard the crying? Because these 3 people were closest to the ghost. to the disease. So when a person has passed away and gone to the ghost realm and he needs help or she needs help, that ghost will go to the loved ones whom she thinks has a chance of helping. That's why they come to us. We need to do something. Some of you listened to my talks. I also mentioned many years ago when I went to live in a cave in Sumpang Polai. And this farmer told me that the neighbor, the son, 16 years old, used to go to the mining pond to fish and to swim, and one day died. And the ghost came back. Every night, 11:30, you walk along the street, come to the house, stand in front of the gate and cry. And the parents were so disturbed, the parents moved away. And then this ghost came back that night, and he realized that the parents were not there. Then he went to other houses. Certain houses he could enter, certain houses he could not enter, I believe. So those houses that he could enter, he went to strangle the person in the house. So a few of them got strangled until they could not stand it. Then they called the Taoist Maosan people to catch this ghost, put it in a small urn, seal it, and throw it into the ocean, into the sea. So you see, because of not understanding, they do this. This boy has died and become a ghost, comes back crying for help, and nobody knows what to do to help him. On top of that, because nobody helped him, he garam. That's why I went to and strangled people. And then these people, they can't stand him, they catch him and put him in prison in the sea. So out of ignorance, we do harmful things. If they knew, they would have been more compassionate. Offer some, like portor like that, offer some food by the roadside. At least the ghost will be happy. Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Venerable Sir, when I practice meditation, sometimes when you try to be aware of your breath, thoughts will be coming in. Under the Satipatthana Sutta, there is also, the Buddha said about be mindful of your thoughts. So in this situation, are you supposed to concentrate, be aware of the breath and just be mindful of the thoughts and let them go and continue in that manner, or what to Bhante or Venerable suggests? Thank you.
The question is, if you are meditating on your breath and thoughts arise, then you should pay attention to them. In the Buddha's discourses, the kind of meditation the Buddha approved or praised was the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. This in the Majjhima Nikaya Suttas. So the aim of meditation is to attain the jhanas, because in the suttas the Buddha says when a person attains the jhanas, then the 5 hindrances are eliminated. So when you are trying to meditate to attain tranquility, the jhanas, whatever that arises, you ignore it. In the Chinese Zen tradition, Chan Chong, they have a saying, more lai, more chan, 4 lai, 4 chan. Yeah, that means if Mara comes, you cut him off, ignore him. If Buddha comes also, you cut him off, ignore him. In other words, whatever arises, whatever you see in meditation, whatever you hear in meditation, whatever you think in meditation, you just ignore it. Put your attention only on one object. For example, your breath. Yeah. But if you're not meditating, then you practice samasati. Samasati is to be aware of the nature of your body, your feelings, your mind, and the Dhamma. Yeah. So, if feelings arise, if they are not strong, you don't need to take note. But if strong feeling arises, for example, anger, then you need to take note. Yeah. And ask yourself, why? Why am I angry? Usually it's because of the ego. You cannot stand. It's not that you cannot stand, your ego cannot stand. Yeah. So you must be able to distinguish your ego from yourself. So then you know your ego is big. Then you must try to reduce your ego. So similarly, if thoughts arise, if they are good thoughts or reasonable thoughts, you can ignore them. But if certain strong thoughts arise, like cruel thoughts, malicious thoughts, want to harm somebody, and then you must ask yourself, why? So, for a meditator, if you are meditating, you want to put your attention only on one object all the time. One object all the time. That to me is satipatthana, because the Buddha says in the sutta that if you practice satipatthana in the right way, it will lead to samadhi, to one-pointedness of mind. But if you are not meditating in your normal waking state, then feelings that arise and thoughts that arise, be aware of them. To try to understand yourself, try to understand your weaknesses and how you can correct your character, because that is part of right effort. Right effort is to get rid of unwholesome states of mind and to cultivate wholesome states of mind. So you can only do that if you are constantly aware of your mind. Okay? Yeah. During meditation, how to handle painful sensations during meditation. Well, if they are bearable, we ignore them. Yeah. But the painful sensations can get more and more painful until it becomes a distraction. If it becomes a distraction, then you cannot put your attention on your breath or something. Then you change the position of your legs. Change the position of your legs so that you don't get the cramp causing the pain.
The pain is not at the sitting position. It's painful bodily sensations not caused by contact. Very intense pain. So
in the mind?
Not in the mind.
Then?
In the body.
In the body?
Yeah.
Can you identify the part of the body?
Yeah.
Where?
I've experienced on my hip.
Only on the hip?
The most painful one is at the hip. Very painful. It's like a candle, burning your flesh.
One suggestion is maybe you go and have an X-ray. There might be a problem there.
In normal waking hours, there's no pain.
Sometimes, is it after some time you meditate, or is it immediately when you meditate?
After some time.
Okay. Our mind, past thoughts sink into our mind, just like, see, suppose you have a glass of water, muddy water, okay? If you shake that muddy water, the mud rises, yeah? If you leave it for a long time, the mud sinks down, settles down, yeah? So our mind is like the settled mud. A lot of things from the past has settled down, okay? Settled down. And then when we meditate, we are going into our mind, deeper and deeper into our mind. As we go into our mind, sometimes things from the past can come up, okay? So things that we have forgotten. For example, one old lady asked me many years ago, she said when she meditates, initially it's okay. After some time, she's unable to breathe, very suffocating. She asked me why. I said, there's a possibility in your previous life you may have drowned. So you have forgotten about it. But when you meditate, this thing surfaces. So she finds it so hard to breathe.
In the Nikayas, is painful sensation part of the Buddhistic meditative experience?
As I mentioned just now, if you are meditating to attain one-pointedness of mind, you should have only one object. But if you are not sitting down in meditation, then you can contemplate.
Thank you.
Bhante, in Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha said that he or she avoids contemplating internally or externally, or both internally and externally. Could Bhante help to clarify what did the Buddha mean by externally and provide some examples on how to practice that?
That is more for a serious meditator, like a monk. For example, contemplating the body, contemplating the nature of your body. And for example, during the Buddha's time, they will contemplate the nature of a corpse. As an external body, nature of corpse. Then feelings also, your own feelings and other people's feeling. How your own feelings affect you, how other people's feeling affect you. Then your own thoughts and other people's thoughts. Okay.
We'll take one last question for tonight.
But if you all have many questions, I don't mind going on.
Bhante, I recently read a books that say for the first precepts, we should avoid the kampung chicken eggs because according to the write-up is already got consciousness. So I would like to hear.
The book says to avoid kampung chicken eggs, because kampung chicken eggs are supposed to be fertilized, so they have life. That's why we are not advised to eat them. But those from the poultry farms, they are not fertilized, so you can eat them. So what do you want to know? Yes. Yeah. Better not.
Can I talk? Bhante, I come from a Mahayana background, so I do not know what it is about the five Nikayas you just mentioned.
Say again.
I come from a Mahayana background, and I do not know what is the Nikayas. Is it recorded in any CD where I can listen to it, or where can I get hold of this?
Yes, you see Brother A.B. Lim.
Okay.
The Nikayas are the original teachings of the Buddha. Yeah. There are many things. I also come from a Mahayana background. There are many things. If you want to know, you come and see me.
You said you are not in KL. You are not in Kuala Lumpur, right?
I know. You have to come to Timor too.
Is there any email or connection through the email?
Yeah, but I don't like to answer email.
Is it recorded in the CD's form?
Oh yes, you see Brother A.B. Lim.
Okay. Thank you.
Reverend, may I ask a very simple question regarding nimitta in meditation?
Regarding what in meditation?
Nimitta. Sometimes when we meditate, we see in our mind screen lights. But sometimes, for a long time, I don't see things like that. But I see lights when I'm not meditating. I just like to know how to get rid of that, or I just don't be bothered about it.
I suggest you don't be bothered about it. It doesn't harm you.
Thank you.
But there is danger in some meditations, like they call it visual meditations. They look at a picture, say like Kuan Yin, or they call Tara. They open their eyes, look at it, and then close their eyes, try to visualize it. Then open their eyes and close their eyes. Keep on doing that now. After a long time, it stays in the mind. So then they close their eyes, they can see the Tara, the Kuan Yin. But the danger is that When they open their eyes also they see. And then they become frightened. They don't want to see, so it follows them. So there's a danger with this visualization. Okay.
Thank you very much, Venerable Dhammabuddho, for the inspiring Dhamma question and answer session. Let us show our gratitude and appreciation to Venerable by saying sadhu 3 times together. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.